This weekend, citizens of the United States rallied and organized in Bunkerville, Nevada, in order to protect and defend our most precious right, the very foundation of the United States Constitution, the cornerstone of the Enlightenment that guided the minds of John Locke, James Madison, and Thomas Jefferson. This is the right of a man to enjoy the fruits of his own labor, to be secure in his person, house, and effects against unreasonable search and seizure, nor to have any governmental agency confiscate his property without just compensation. When the government fails to protect this right, it is dysfunctional and void of purpose. However, when a government not only fails to protect this right, but becomes a transgressor itself, it ceases to be a government at all, as it is now a tyranny, run by ravenous men sending hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. The quote above is among the primary grievances listed in the Declaration of Independence. It describes an era of absurd and inane taxation for the purpose of destroying and subjugating the American people, who were British subjects at the time. The reason for the aggressive taxation by King George III were twofold, as listed above. The first clause being to support and maintain this multitude of new offices. The second clause, to use those new offices to send hither those swarms of officers to harass the people and to eat out their substance. Today we find ourselves in the same situation. No man can even begin to list the myriad of government agencies and bureaucracies, and the hundreds of thousands of copious regulations and innumerable codes created by unelected bureaucrats that are designed to needlessly and often viciously impoverish and ruin the livelihood, liberty, and happiness of the ordinary citizen. Verily, these armies of pencil pushers cannot be for our benefit, as our country, nation, and economy have been in dire straits for more than a decade. For all the unhappiness and misery that we, the citizens of the United States, have endured, what happiness and fortune have we received in return from these parasitical and malign agencies? These civil servants are not public servants. They are public masters, subordinate only to the wicked and rapacious men that style themselves as congressmen, or judges, or czars, or chairmen, or even president. For many years, the citizens of the United States have tolerated innumerable insults and degradations to their ways of life, and we turn the other cheek. As prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly, all experience hath shewn that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. However, the citizens of the United States can no longer suffer the perpetual savagery of the federal government. It has become a rogue and foreign regime, unaccountable to the American people, and thus has become spiteful and ferocious, an engine of tyranny that rides forth to demolish and pillage the life, liberty, and property of the people. This is antithetical to the purpose of government, which is to secure the blessings of life, liberty, and property. The culmination of this suffering led to Americans rallying to restore the Republic and the rule of law as a well-regulated and disciplined militia in order to preserve the security of the free state of Nevada, bearing their arms and munitions against the heavily equipped and armored faceless ghouls of the Bureau of Land Management. Since when have executive agencies and bureaucracies staffed by unelected phantoms have had the power and authority to use armed coercion to enforce their own regulations that were not even passed by Congress? No, this abuse was one among a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably to the same object, and Vince's designed to reduce them under absolute despotism, that finally resulted in stop. The culmination of the suffering led to Americans rallying to restore the Republic and the rule of law as a well-regulated and disciplined militia in order to preserve the security of the free state of Nevada, bearing their arms and munitions against the heavily equipped and armored faceless ghouls of the Bureau of Land Management. Since when have executive agencies and bureaucracies staffed by unelected phantoms have had the power and authority from the shadows to use armed coercion and to enforce their own regulations that were not even passed by Congress. This abuse was the one among a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably to the same object, and evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, have finally resulted in the citizens of the United States, as free men, to exercise their constitutional right, their duty to bear arms and restore the rule of law from the tyrants to which no free man should ever yield. A malicious precedent of Kelo vs. New London that allows unelected legislatures to steal or confiscate property for private interests is heinous enough. But now the multitudinous bureaucracies have also tried to seize such unlimited, unjust, and unforgivable powers for themselves. They wish to impoverish this family into ruin, to tax them unnecessarily and improperly, a tax that was not even approved by the United States House of Representatives, and then attempted to seize his property without due process. This is no simple abuse or misuse of power, but a usurpation of the Constitution of the United States, the expulsion of the people as the popular sovereigns, as enumerated by the 9th Amendment. In order to secure and defend the free state of Nevada, the militia performed their duty to throw off such government. We have witnessed the incredible courage and tenacity of these brave men and women who stared into the evil eyes of the armed and armored Faceless Federal Fiends as they stormed their barricades under the threat of death, maiming, and lifelong agony. These people are heroes. They have fought and won the most important engagement since the Battle of Athens, Tennessee during the McMinn County War. We have seen the citizens of the United States restore the rule of law and preserve their popular sovereignty as self-governing free men. There is only one logical practice of the Second Amendment, and that is that it shall not be infringed. Any other practice is an absurdity, for it contradicts the very purpose of the Second Amendment in its entirety. It is the ultimate form of popular recourse against tyranny, and thus no potential tyrants may restrict it. The Second Amendment is the supreme sovereign. To surrender the Second Amendment is to surrender the sovereignty of self-government.